Day exactly 24 years ago, a Nakomis teen was brutally stabbed in her apartment. Decades later, the question still remains, who killed Shayna Jarris? In part 2 of our cold case series, Dee Gatton heads back to Nakomis searching for answers. Dee?
John, it's a mystery that's baffled police for decades. Tonight, I find out what investigators are looking for and why it's been so challenging to solve this cold case.
I was so mad. I just wanted them to find out who did it.
Janelle Jarris was just 15 years old when her older sister, Shayna Marie Jarris, was murdered in her own apartment. She was stabbed over 50 times from just above her breast to her neck. Shayna was just 18.
I don't know anybody who would ever want to hurt her. That's what's so strange about the whole thing.
The story begins on October 31st, 1995. Shayna's father, Dwayne Jarris, stopped by her apartment to take his then 10-year-old son, Stephen, trick-or-treating. It was around 9:30 at night. While Dwayne sat in the car, his son went to the door and got a look inside.
He says the two guys were drinking beer, but other than that, he said it was just 4 people sitting around a table.
He says those 4 people included Shayna, Shayna's roommate, the roommate's boyfriend, and a next-door neighbor. Shayna was murdered just hours later. Police say her death resulted from massive blood loss. I was able to find old newspapers which say it was almost 7 in the morning when Shayna's body was found on November 1st, 1995.
I've had people call me and say that they know who killed her, and it always comes out to be that they don't know anything. We had a guy in prison that said he murdered her, but that came out, not to be true.
Since Shayna's murder, not one arrest has been made. Was it someone she knew? Could whoever killed her still be in Nakomis?
But I don't believe they are, because when it happened, everybody went different directions. Everybody that had contact with her in the last 24 hours left the state.
2 days after the murder, the Herald and Review wrote in an article, quote, "Police have said they don't believe the murder was a random act of violence." But when I asked Illinois State Police Special Agent Randy Custer to confirm, he said,
"Yeah, at this point in time, I couldn't specify or make a determination whether it was a random act or not."
He's been working on the case for 3 years and is here to spur up a renewed interest.
So often over time, people have a tendency to forget about these cases. And again, the public needs to understand that the small amount of information could open this case wide open, and that's what investigators need.
He says police have consistently received tips in the last 24 years.
I know the investigators early on said in the first 18 months they had over 100 tips called in. And obviously the tips have slowed down in the last decade. But again, that's why we're out here today, hoping that people call in.
Hoping to uncover any secrets this town may have. Hoping to help this family heal.
I've never looked for pity. I've just looked for justice for Shayna. There's going to be a void there forever. But I would just like to see him caught, because I'd like never to happen again to anybody else's child.
A community forever changed, and a family fighting for justice.
It would bring our family comfort just to know that the person that did this is behind bars. I'm still hopeful, and I'll never give up hope. Never will.
And in 1995, the State Journal-Register wrote in an article that the last murder in Nakomis was in 1969. If you know anything about Shayna's case, there is a reward of up to $10,000 for any information leading to an arrest. We'll have the details on our website. John.
Thank you, Dee. To see the first part of the cold case report, head to newschannel20.com.